Hello and welcome back to the podcast, who will definitely call your strange, unconventional uncle when your parents are out of town. Damn it. Welcome back to the best part of your week. Welcome back to the Love, Death, and Movies podcast, internet's number one film breakdown and review podcast, the podcast that crushes watch lists week after week. Every month is a different genre. Every week is a different film in that genre. So follow us on everything, join along for the ride, and let's watch some movies. With me, of course, is my posse, the best people in Australia and New Zealand, Harry and Byron. How are you guys doing today?
My posse, I like that. I'm good. The Batman is better than the Dark Knight.
That's all you have to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, there we go.
Agreed.
Oh,
I
good.
also agree. I think I agree too.
Damn
Oh,
it.
damn
Sorry,
it.
I don't know if anyone caught. I went to like fix my hair and I fucking stabbed myself in the eye.
You stabbed yourself in the eye with your finger.
Byron never stops getting hurt. That's just something that the people need to know.
We're going to get you a bunch of bubble wrap for Christmas,
Just-
Byron.
Not injury prone. I'm just
We're going to you know how when new parents childproof an apartment? We need a childproof New Zealand for Byron, I think.
New Zealand's a very safe place.
Just,
Unless you're in
just the
Auckland,
space that he spends
South
time in.
Auckland.
You're talking to an Australian here, Byron. Everything here kills you.
Yeah. New Zealand's like a really safe place. It's isolated.
It is. It's got good
All
pies.
right.
Better
So
pies, yeah. Be the greatest, literally the best pies in the world.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're already getting off
enough
track at the
pies,
first
so
few
enough
minutes
pies,
talking
so-
about pies and Batman. So it's bound to be a great episode. That's how
What a
you know it's going to
combo.
be good. So,
Right.
Mhm.
anyways,
How are you, Ash? Sorry. How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. Thank you. We're continuing on and actually finishing off our month of nostalgia, which has been good fun, and talking about Uncle Buck, which is a movie that I've loved for a very long time. So we'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, as always, how was your guys' week? I think it's Monday for you guys. So I guess how was your last week? Byron?
I didn't do much. Didn't watch much. Didn't really do anything. UFC was on Saturday, which is really weird for me. Usually, I can like lay back and watch the UFC on a Sunday afternoon. So, but this it was in China this
Hmm.
week, so it started at 9 p.m. So it was actually kind of good to experience a fight night, not a fight fucking morning fight early afternoon. That was really good. It didn't finish until like 3 in the morning. It's kind of kicked my ass because of the time zone. But yeah, that was really fun. But yeah, pretty chill week. Pretty chill week.
Nice.
Nothing too exciting.
Harry?
Right. Yeah, my week's good. Work crazy is what it is. Towards the end of the year, can't wait for the year to end. Please. I watched a couple of fights on that fight card. It was cool. It was cool to see the UFC in China. I thought that was really cool. And it was like this, like every Chinese fighter that came out, the
bro.
entire crowd just went nuts. And I was like,
Bro,
that's cool. I love that.
Oh my god, some chick,
Oh yeah,
really rangy chick,
I
got
saw-
clipped right in the third round. Got her head kicked off.
I saw that. I saw that live. I thought I saw a person die.
Unconscious for 4.5 minutes.
Stretch it out, but
Richard out.
yeah.
CT scan, heaps of other scans. Apparently, she failed heaps of them. Oh,
Yes, you would. I'm sorry. Every person that enters that ring or octagon and gets punched, you're failing a CT scan. You're failing
for sure.
Everyone's going to bed that night for the next couple of weeks with headaches. Like,
By the way,
it's-
the
why you
girl
get
that
paid so
knocked
much.
the other girl out, the sweet Chinese woman, her parents don't know she fights. And
now
she's
they
in
do.
the largest MMA organization in the world.
Now they definitely do.
And she just probably ended some poor girl's career for the next 2 years.
Right.
Wow.
But rest of my weekend was good. I went and saw 21 Pilots last night. Do you guys know them? The
Mhm.
band? Up there with one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Like, I've been listening to them since I was like a teenager. And the concert was like 2.5 hours long. So they played like every song you could think of. And they did like I could pull up like little images I got. Their crowd interaction was incredible. They brought like it's so Byron. It's a bassist, vocalist, and a pianist. Like one person doing that, and then one guy on drums. So it's two people. So it's these two guys, and that's the entire band. And it's fucking cool. And they did this like one song towards the end where they got like a little mosh pit in the middle of the entire arena. There's like 20,000 people. 20 and like made a little circle, and they brought in a drum kit, and they brought in a piano, and then people surrounded them in the middle of the arena, and they played a song like that, and then everyone's going fucking ape shit like around them. I was like, that is so cool. But that was probably the highlight of my last week for sure. And then it was watching Uncle Buck. Spoilers, this movie's fucking rad. How was your week, Ash?
It was good. Yeah, it's Sunday evening for me, so yeah, I'm doing good. Full week of work for the first time since going back. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I'm just kind of coasting until the end of the year. I'm not really overworking myself, just doing exactly what I'm paid to do, but nothing more than that. So
good, as you should.
Yeah, no, it's good. And yesterday we went to a mall kind of like out of town. So it was like my first day kind of out and about for the day, which was really nice. And it was good to break my cabin fever that I've had for the last 2.5 months. So I'm good. It's Thanksgiving this week in the US. So I only have work for like 2.5 days this week. And then I'm off at noon on Wednesday and have some Thanksgiving family plans. So yeah, should be good.
How much do you guys eat at Thanksgiving? Like, is it like a massive feast?
I mean, it's like a whole turkey usually.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes there's a ham, stuffing, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes.
There should always be a ham.
Oh, bro. It's
It's a lot
December
of food.
soon. It's December pretty soon. Can't wait for that fucking ham.
So yeah, like Australia and New Zealand are very much the same. I'm not sure if it's the same in America. When it comes to Christmas, our Christmas lunches is what we normally do. I'm thinking it's the same for New Zealand. Is what Thanksgiving is for America. The entire table revolves around the ham. The ham, there's this like, it's not just like slices of ham. It's a fucking leg, and they just slap it onto a table and you just carve it out. You keep the bone. It's unreal. I love it. I can't
Yeah, definitely don't think it's quite as intense. And I feel like for some reason turkey became like the core meat. I'm not a huge turkey fan. It can get really dry.
Very
really
dry.
fast.
Yeah, I was about to say.
For sure.
Yeah.
But luckily, my mom makes a pretty good one, and Adam's dad makes a good one, so we're usually in good hands. But yeah, I've definitely had some bad turkeys over the years, but I'm looking forward to it. My favorite is always the mashed potatoes and the green bean casserole. So
I love mashed potatoes.
Hell yeah.
So anyways, back to nostalgia. November, we are again talking about Uncle Buck. And this is John Hughes' movie, which I think people forget that this is one of his films. It's kind of not talked about the same way. Yeah, I feel like until you look it up, a lot of people don't know that he did this movie. But yeah, released in 1989, estimated budget of $15 million, grossed just over $80 million worldwide, which is pretty wild. But I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share with you guys. This movie did not do well with a lot of critics, including Roger Ebert, who said the movie feels harsh and way too dark at times, even going on to call it creepy and subtly unwholesome. I personally disagree, but I thought it was interesting because there is a lot of dark humor in this movie, and I guess like a lot of things that aren't super realistic, aka putting a teenage boy in your trunk. But I still think there's so much charm with this movie, and I think it's hilarious. And I mean, I don't think any John Hughes movie is quote unquote realistic, so I don't think that is really a fair criticism from him. But I thought it was interesting that he really disliked this movie.
It's crazy because this is the same Roger Ebert that thought that Home Alone 3 was better than Home Alone 1 and 2. And if he's talking about realism, where Home Alone 3 is about the Korean mafia with the missiles and shit.
It was like the mafia involved in like this little like remote control car.
And it had the microchip
yeah.
that had like the weapon that goes into a weapon. I've got to watch Home Alone 3 again, apparently. It goes into a weapon device that controls missiles. Like, so if he's talking about if he's talking about realism, I shouldn't talk bad about a man that's passed.
He didn't talk about realism. I'm saying that John Hughes movies are not super realistic.
As they
he
shouldn't
just
be,
said that he thought it was very like overly harsh and borderline creepy, I guess, because of how he was behaving. But I don't personally agree. I just don't think.
I think he's a jolly uncle.
I think it all works perfect.
Yeah. He's fine.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was interesting to share. But jumping into the synopsis, when Cindy and her husband Bob have to leave town for a family emergency, there's only one person available to babysit their 3 kids. Bob's lazy, carefree brother Buck, played by John Candy, rest in peace. While he immediately gets along with the younger 2 children, Buck must change his bachelor lifestyle if he wants to be a responsible caregiver for the angst-filled teenager Tia. So before we get into the breakdown, I guess I'll just give my initial thoughts and then I'll let you guys tell me what you think. I've seen this movie a bunch of times. think I've been watching it since I was probably like in middle school or something. But it's not a holiday movie, but for some reason I always go towards it around like this time of year to watch it, like around holidays. I think it just has those vibes, even though there's not a holiday that's centered around it. But I think this is John Candy's best movie for me. I think he's just absolutely iconic, just like Robin Williams with Mrs. Doubtfire. That's like this version of that for him. For me personally, I think that everyone is great as far as the kids, but especially Macaulay Culkin. I just think he has some of the best lines in this film. That whole like exchange about like, do you own a home or do you rent? Like all
I've
those
got it
questions.
written down when we get to it.
Okay, yeah, that whole
Thank
thing
you.
is just hysterical to me. But yeah, I think John Candy is just absolute perfection here. He's so funny. His mannerisms, just some of the things that he does, the way he carries himself. It's just great. This movie just puts me in a good mood. I think it also has a lot of heart to it, you know, between the relationship with him and Tia. And I think being an aunt for me, like I just always have I've gained an appreciation for this movie now that I've been an aunt for a long time. And it's just fun. And it makes me feel like in the holiday spirit for some reason, even though it's not talked about at all that there's a holiday. But I love it. And I'm curious what you guys think. I guess, Harry, you go first. I know you've seen this before and we've talked about this movie so many times.
Yeah, this is a staple of my childhood. I still say so many lines. Like it's one of those movies that my mum introduced me to. She loves this movie. I was talking to her like in the last week, and she's like, "What movie are you watching for the podcast this week?" I'm like, "Uncle Buck," and she immediately goes, "Ever heard of a ritual killing?" It's so good. There's so many lines in this. My Letterboxd review. I won't say the score, but I stand by my comment of I think it is absolutely criminal that no one talks about John Candy anymore. I agree with you. I think that Robin Williams will always be my favorite comedy actor. John Candy number 2. He's like, and so easy as well. Like they're like no one comes close to the top 2 for me. Like I think he's perfect in this role. I think his dynamic with each kid is so different and so well done. Like the what's the eldest?
Tia.
Dynamic with Tia is great. Makes total sense. You know, teenager. You understand. But with Maisie and Miles is sensational. Like the way that he's with there's never like any reluctance towards them or anything like that. He never fights back. He's just the uncle. He's just happy to be included, like sort of thing, which I love. I think that this movie isn't good if it's not John Candy, but because it's John Candy, it's excellent.
Agreed.
That's it.
And I think it's interesting that no one talks about this as like a John Hughes movie. Like you always hear Ferris Bueller, you hear 16 Candles, you hear oh my gosh, The Breakfast Club.
I might like this more than all of them.
I think that this is my hot take. I think this is his best movie, and it's not even close for me. Like Ferris Bueller's like next, and I think that those are his 2 best, but this one is by far his best and his funniest.
Are we talking about just directing or including writing?
Yeah, just
because I was like, we're bringing Home Alone into this then.
No.
Okay, cool.
I was thinking
I agree then. I agree.
Byron? Jinx?
I'll be honest. I really thought this was going to be it. I really thought this was going to be the movie that I was going to dislike.
No, I knew you would like this movie, to be honest.
I had never heard of it before. I honestly, I didn't recognize anybody except for
Macaulay Culkin.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, I'm horrible with names, by the way.
No, I got you.
He was the only person I recognized. The best was John Candy. I don't want to say like he carried the movie, but like
yeah, he definitely carried it. He absolutely carried it.
He was by far like leaps and bounds the highlight of this thing. I think the relationships is second in terms of best qualities. I think the relationship management is really, really good. And even though certain characters I hated for like 95%,
which you're supposed to though,
aka Tia.
Not okay, but yeah.
Oh god, she was really good, by the way. Like, she was really, really good. But her character, holy fuck, I hated her so goddamn much until the end. I knew it was coming. I think...
Byron, do you know the angst of a teenage girl? Like, let me tell you, there's nothing meaner than a teenage girl.
Yeah, but, oh my god!
I know. As a previous
the entire time, like I don't like talk to myself or during movies. Like I'll have thoughts in my head, and this one, I was just like, "You fucking lying, fucking son of a bitch!" I was getting so worked up about this goddamn character. I was just like, "Oh my god!" But I think all the characters are really good. I think the management between relationships and all the characters themselves are really, really good. I also didn't know this was John Hughes until the credits started rolling. I was like, oh, kind of makes sense. I was like, oh no, it definitely makes sense.
Right? Like once you know it, you're like, oh, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
It's got humor.
like imagine if you didn't know Nolan fucking made Inception and you watch Inception. It's like, oh, no shit, it was Nolan. This is definitely John Hughes. And he hasn't missed for me either, by the way.
No.
I've only seen 3, I think, of his movies, but they've all been good.
You should watch 16 Candles.
I will not. I will not do that.
Yeah, because then you won't have a miss then if you don't watch that. That movie, straight up, that movie is terrible. I've been thinking about this. That movie is fucking awful.
It's awful. I was just talking to Adam about it before we got on the call, that I like that movie literally barely deserves the 2.5 stars I gave it. It's probably more like 1 star, to be honest with you.
I'm thinking of lowering mine, yeah.
And I don't like Weird Science either. And I'm very like on The Breakfast Club as it ages. Like I really don't like that many of his movies. I think that they focus on a very specific like type of theme and like demographic of person, and it works sometimes. Here it feels more charming, I think, because of Buck. Because he's different. He's removed from that just like rich suburban family in like the East Coast. It feels like there's more of a grounded nature to this movie because of his character, which is I think why I like it so much.
False promoting him, by the way. I thought he was gonna be like some fucking like major screw up.
No, he's not.
It was just like this alcoholic junkie. I was expecting the absolute worst, and then in reality, I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
He's wearing a fucking sweater over a fucking button down.
I mean, he doesn't have his life together, but he's not.
Me that like he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's a fucking moron. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the other word. It was so misleading. I was expecting so much worse, and then in reality, it was just like, oh, he's just the sweet old dude, uncle, like, you know.
Yeah, it's nice to be
included. I do think it is a little bit the John Candy effect. I do think if it was somebody else playing the role, it could have come off very differently.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it needed a special kind of actor to pull that role off the same way.
All right, absolutely. Well, let's jump in. Okay, so we open to suburban home where we meet the Russell family. We have Cindy, Bob, and their 3 children, Tia, Miles, and Maisie. I don't know if the younger 2 are supposed to be like twins. I don't think so, but they're very close in age, as you can kind of tell. They're like maybe a year apart.
I thought Miles was a year older. That's how I kind of get.
Yeah, that sounds right. From the get-go, you get an idea that the family dynamics are very off. You have distant and angsty Tia. She's kind of like partially parenting the younger siblings, it kind of seems like, as well. She's very cold towards her mother specifically. Unhappy with her home life. They make it known that they've recently moved from the city, Indianapolis. I'm assuming just like to the suburbs. It kind of just seems like they're still in a nice area, but it's just maybe more closed off from the city. After we kind of get to meeting the family, we meet Buck, played by the amazing John Candy, while out at dinner with his girlfriend Shanice, who is fed up with his lack of accountability and his not wanting to commit to a long-term kind of relationship or, marriage, kids, that whole deal. And then we have the family awakening to a call in the middle of the night where we find out that Cindy's dad had a heart attack. So they have to find someone to watch the kids so they can leave immediately in the middle of the night to go and drive to see her dad. They try to go through like all these neighbors that they might want to watch their kids, which is just so weird to me, like to think of like a neighbor watching your kids. I don't know why. It just feels very like distant. I don't know. I feel like
unless you've developed like this really close relationship with your neighbor.
I think
they haven't lived there that long.
Like, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the only reason you'd get your neighbors to do it is if you were like super close with them, and you like befriended them.
Exactly.
This is just fucking weird that it would even pop into your mind. Let's get the next door neighbor that we've probably never met.
Is it just because of school why they didn't take the kids?
Yeah. So they make it clear that the kids, because even Tia brings that up, like why they have to stay. They make it clear that they're staying home because they have school. Cool. Bob brings up his estranged brother, Buck, as an option. Cindy. Why is Cindy so hard to say? Immediately rejects that happening. Not shocking. And then after, I think the neighbors were supposed to watch them, and then it falls through. So basically they are left, they're back to Buck being the only one that can come and stay with them. So Bob calls him up middle of the night, and of course he agrees to it. even though he just woke up and they haven't probably spoken in a few years, and he hasn't clearly seen Tia since she was 9 or 10 years old, and he hasn't even met the two younger ones. So we're talking maybe it's been 9, well, maybe not quite 9 years, maybe like 6 years since they've seen each other, which is a long time.
I'd say so.
So Buck heads straight there in his noisy ass car, where he proceeds to knock on the wrong door at 2:30 in the morning. I love this scene where he just keeps knocking, causing a ruckus in the neighborhood, waking people up. And it's a really funny moment. So I kind of want to stop there, but if you guys don't have anything else to add, I guess I can keep going. But that's kind of where I wanted to leave off. I was just curious if you have any other thoughts on the opening of the film, any of the characters, any of the kids. Like I said already, I love Macaulay Culkin and this whole beginning section. And Maisie's funny too. I think Gabby Hoffman's awesome. But yeah, anything to add about any of the characters or any of the actors?
Yeah. By the way, when he was knocking on the door, so this is what I was saying. The way they talked about him before Buck's introduction, I assumed he was going to break. I thought he was going to break into the neighbor's house. I thought he was going to kick the door down and just like let himself in. I was just like, oh fuck God, no, please don't. And then it was nothing like that. I was just like, oh, see, this is what I was saying about it being like a little bit misleading. So I thought this dude was just a fucking criminal. Like unhinged criminal.
Based on what? Unhinged. Based on the description or based
by
on
the way everyone talked about him? Yeah, before.
Yeah, how he's like
we actually saw
ousted. He's like disowned from the family.
I expected him to knock on the door, and when they didn't answer, I thought he was just gonna kick the door in or fucking like break through the window or something.
Well, considering some of the things he does later in the movie and the messes he makes, I feel like it wouldn't be shocking to think he could do that.
But, yeah, it's just being stupid. I thought he was. They promoted him as a fucking criminal.
I mean, he does gamble, but he's not a criminal.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Fucking, have you seen Australia? Harry's not a criminal, is he?
Whatever you don't know will kind of help you in the court of law. You know? Plausible deniability.
All right, I'm on the same boat, Harry.
This has one of my favorite scenes in this scene where, like, because at the beginning he's with is it Shanice? Is the girlfriend? Yeah. Shanice, and she's like, oh, like I'll see you tomorrow at the job, and then he calls her and he's just like, hey, so I got some news. Let me guess, you're not coming. And then you don't see her talk again, but he's just looking.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a great moment. Yeah. And then the bowling ball falls on his head.
So good. It's so funny. Like again,
that's concussion. By the way.
Yeah. That's a 10-8 round.
Maybe not when you're 6'4" and like 350 pounds like John Candy is. Maybe not then.
Only 350.
Man was large.
He's huge.
I thought it was a little more than that. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm just guessing. I did not look that up or anything. Don't fact check.
I don't really want to fact check.
Sorry, you sounded really confident. I just took your word for it.
Well, it's good to know, Byron. I'm just going to keep that in mind. Say everything with confidence so that you'll believe me.
I mean, I do the same fucking thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can continue on because I feel like that was kind of a short section. But
that was the only thing I wanted to say. Was that little scene.
It was a good
great scene. Love that moment. I wonder how they actually like filmed that. Like if he was just all doing it by himself, or like they actually.
I reckon it was completely improvised.
Yeah. Improv.
I mean, he's an SNL guy. He knows.
So good. He was one of the best SNL guys as well.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, continuing on, the kids awake to their Uncle Buck singing in the kitchen, making this huge breakfast, and I love this whole moment. Well, first Tia walks down, obviously gives him attitude. First thing, doesn't even give him a chance, and she's like, "I'm not hungry. I'm not eating." Grabs a black cup of coffee, just starts drinking coffee. 15 years old. She's too cool for school. But then the other kids come down, and I love when Miles is like, he's cooking our garbage. Like it's like a grapefruit cut open with like onion. This is like the weirdest breakfast.
Put onions in the eggs.
It's that whole exchange I find is so funny, and that's like their first impression of him, which I think is really great. And then I find it just hilarious, kind of backing up a little bit, I guess, but just the way that Buck's character just says these things. I don't want to call it like putting your foot in your mouth because it's not quite that, but he doesn't know when to stop talking. And I love when he's like talking to Cindy and he's like, yeah, I switched to cigars. And then in 5 years, I'll switch to and then by the time, I get there, I'll be at nicotine gum in like 25 years. That whole thing. It's like he just can't, he just keeps going. And he does that so many times in this movie. And
I love that.
Hysterical.
I quit cigarettes. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I smoke cigars now. That's way worse.
And then in 5 years, I'll be on chewing tobacco, and then another 5 years, I'll be on
the pipes.
Pipe and the nicotine gum.
There were points in this movie where I thought he was like a fucking mafia boss.
Maybe
he gave those vibes, man.
Yeah, I just think it really shows like how well John Candy played the character. I'm sure a lot of it was improvised, but it's just the way he was so distinctly different from this family. Like obviously, like the parents are very like
they're put
more
together,
put together, reserved. You know, they're very vanilla, if you will. And he just kind of adds this like distinction, so it's really funny to watch those interactions. Buck does not seem to mind that Tia wants to have an attitude towards him. He proceeds to drop her off at school in his noisy beater car, and the entire school sees, embarrassing her. And he has no problem going toe to toe with her, which I think she kind of needs. She needs somebody who's going to kind of fight back with her during this phase of her life.
I said assert dominance over the household.
Yeah. Well, clearly the parents are not really concerned with getting too involved in what's wrong with their teenage daughter. While the kids are at school, Buck lays around with the dog, eating Frosted Flakes and making a mess and just living his best life, lounging on the couch. It's what I would want to be doing on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yep.
When picking Tia up from school, he gets to meet Bug. I don't know if it's her boyfriend or just some guy she's seeing. He's a loser, but I love this whole exchange. You were talking about it earlier, Harry, but ever heard of a tune-up? Ever heard of a ritual killing?
I love the two kids in the back though. When they see him kissing, he's like, and then Miles goes, "That's a pretty stupid thing to do during flu season."
Yes,
he's so aware.
Macaulay Culkin has the most outlandish lines for a child in this movie, and it's the best thing ever. Like the way he delivers them is perfect.
He might be my favorite like child actor, honestly.
Oh yeah,
he's so fucking good.
He's making a comeback. He's going to be in something season 2. I can't remember, but he's going to be in a popular show.
Have you heard of a ritual killing?
Heard of a ritual killing.
So good.
Buck struggles through taking care of the kids in the house, but slowly finds a way to connect with the younger kids, like we were talking about earlier. That seems to come pretty easy to him. I think he has like this kind of kid-natured like spirit about him. Obviously, he's kind of like more immature, so I think he can naturally kind of relate to them, whereas Tia is a whole nother beast. They kind of continue to have that animosity throughout this chunk of the movie. I love the scene where Marcy comes over and Buck is fussing with the laundry machine, and she just hears him, and she's obviously thinking something completely different is happening. That whole exchange is really funny. She kind of adds a little bit of like that quirky, flirty neighbor vibe.
It was frightening.
Huh?
She was frightening.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I think it worked well. Obviously, it kind of just served as like a catalyst for obviously Tia getting in the middle of his relationship with Shanice. But we'll get into that later. As a way to bond as a family, I'm assuming, or maybe just being a nice guy, he takes the little ones bowling and gets Tia to agree to come by making threats of shaving her head in the night. It's a good way to get a 15-year-old to do what you want them to do.
Nice buzz.
Yeah. It's like I can't even try to like say these lines that he says in these moments because I feel like it's just
they don't come off the same.
You just can't even imitate it the way the way he delivers everything is so perfectly. I don't even I would just butcher it, so I'm not even gonna try. Creepy older guy flirts with Tia at the bowling alley. The scene is so icky. Buck has no problem scooting in to scare him off, and it's not the only time that he'll have to do that in this movie. And they continue to fight, and she ends up telling him maybe if he gets married, he'd stop being such an asshole. Because that'll solve everything. Marriage fixes everything.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, great idea.
I got the quote for you, Ash. Well, we've done the battle of wills. The deck's stacked in my favor. You're going to lose again. Tia says, try me. How would you like to spend the next several nights wondering if your crazy out-of-work bum uncle will shave your head while you sleep? See you in the car.
Yep.
So good.
It's like, what is she going to do? She doesn't know him well enough to know that he's not. I mean, he's pretty unhinged already in the short time they've had together. So, I don't know. I wouldn't play with fate there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm planning on stopping there. Anything else to add in these moments? Anything you guys really loved? I know we kind of talked about some of the quotes already.
So many dislikable people in this movie.
The parents suck.
The dude, the original dude in the bowling alley who goes up to Tia with his fucking
he's gross.
Toothpick. By the way, you can obviously see that he's fucking stabbed at his lip with it.
Yeah. Oh, that guy was a loser,
bro. Oh my god, I want to fucking ragdoll that son of a bitch.
But I like that scene because like Buck goes up to him and everyone knows Buck.
Yeah, it's a good scene. I mean, you would be intimidated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
huge.
It's 350 pounds, remember? But anyone that size, like you're gonna get intimidated, probably.
Absolutely. This also has, which I alluded to before, the scene with the interrogation with Miles, which I think's probably the best scene. I've got it written out if you want me to read it
my
out.
favorite. My
Please
favorite
do.
scene.
All right, so I'm not going to be like Buck says. Well, I was going to read it out. Where do you live? In the city. You have a house? Apartment. Own or rent? Rent. What do you do for a living? Lots of things. Where's your office? I don't have one. How come? I don't need one. Where's your wife? Don't have one. How come? It's a long story. You have kids? No, I don't. How come? It's even longer story. Are you my dad's brother? What's your record for consecutive questions asked? 38. I'm your dad's brother, all right. You have much more hair in your nose than my dad, and I see you notice. I'm a kid. That's my job. Like, it's such a good fucking
It's
writing.
super unrealistic because a kid would never be able to do that.
Are you kidding me, though?
that
Like, sometimes
fast, there's
my
no
nieces
way.
have done shit like that to me, though, when
Surely
they're like
not.
8 or
What?
9.
Yeah, my nephews do that to me all the time. They're like,
I
just
love questions.
consecutive questions about anything. Like, I'd be sitting there like
Nothing's off the table.
Be sitting there at dinner, and it's just like, what's your favorite dinosaur? What's your favorite bird? Okay, and like if you could fight an animal, what would it be? And I'm like, any of them.
Like an emu.
In my natural habitat, I could fight any animal. Yes.
Honestly, I love it. Like, I think kids should never stop asking questions.
I think it's great.
That's my favorite interaction in the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's definitely
Yeah,
good.
Miles
so
is
much.
the goat.
By the way, you said that he's been cast in a new show, and I didn't know this, and that's why if people looked at me, I was just like this. I was like, he's in the new season of Fallout.
Fallout, thank you.
Oh my god,
I still haven't seen season 1.
season 1's fantastic.
So good.
TV's so fucking difficult for my attention span.
Man, watch. I probably should have said this at the start. I finally watching Arcane. Ash, love it. It's
you on season 1?
I finished season 1. I'm like midway through season 2 now.
Okay, I have 2 episodes left of season 2.
It's
Gonna
just
finish
so
it.
It's one of the
good.
greatest first seasons in television history.
It's so
Yeah, the whole show from start to finish so far has been 10 out of 10 for me. Like, absolute perfection.
Oh, it's a beautiful
it.
show. Sorry, that was a complete
I mean,
tangent.
Duncan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you're watching it. But anyway, speaking of Miles, where we pick up is that morning where he's making him a gigantic set of pancakes.
Oh.
I want someone to make those for me.
With the plow?
So good. And decorating for his
shovel?
birthday, which I love that he just like took on all these things. And we'll get into it in a minute about like another thing he did for the parents. But it's like all these things the mom had planned already for the kids' birthday, conversations with principals. He just like takes it. He just goes with it. So he gets it all decorated. The friends come over, and then a clown is supposed to show up.
Oh my god, another dislikable character. Holy
yes.
shit.
I love when he opens the door and he starts, talking to this clown, and he obviously
Had a few drinks this
gets
morning?
that he's drunk. But I love that he just starts lecturing him. It's like you think someone like Buck, who's kind of obviously not having the best part of his life happen right now, would not necessarily be calling out someone who's making a mistake. But I love that he's just like, no, you're drunk. This is a kid's birthday. And he punches him. Not once.
But this
That's straight right.
This has my favorite quote in the entire film, though, which I hope is improvised, where he just goes, "Get in your mouse and get out of here."
I'm sure. Like, I feel like there's got to be so much of that throughout this entire film. But yeah, that whole moment exchange is hysterical. Then we have Buck finding Tia at a secret location that she lied about going to. And he embarrasses her once again in front of Bug. This is where he essentially threatens him with a hatchet. He's like, you know what a hatchet is? And then he like shows him in the trunk.
Here it is.
Yeah, I found it.
Fantastic.
That's so
And I
funny.
think it's funny that like Roger Ebert would say that this movie is like too dark, or like I get that you shouldn't be maybe doing these things to high schoolers, but also this stuff like isn't that unrealistic. Like,
No,
I
people
remember
need
my
to get
dad
scared.
being really crazy about stuff like when I was a teenager. I don't know. It's not that crazy to think that like a father figure or like a protective figure would be threatening like a guy who might have wrong intentions with a 15-year-old girl.
But I do think like teenagers like that, especially like a guy like Bug, they think they're invincible. So
Yeah, exactly.
They need to kind of get reality checked. But that like where Bug's like, look, I think you'd better split. I don't want him to go berserk on me with an axe. And Tia's like, he's all talk. And he pulls up, here it is. It's just like a hatchet. It's so good.
He's gonna learn quick. He's not all talk.
Come on over. I want to show it to you.
Yeah, those whole like interactions and him kind of being protective over her and her obviously being very pissed off by it. It's great, and I love where their relationship ends up in the last part of the movie. But this all just kind of like building up towards that.
Wholeheartedly, yeah.
So we get to the scene where he's going to meet with the assistant principal on behalf of the parents to discuss Maisie and her problems at school. I love this scene so much. I love everything of just him walking into the school, the music that's playing, his whole aesthetic, his jacket, his vibe, his hat. He like goes to the kiddie urinal. All those scenes they're so funny. And then we end with him having the conversation with the principal. I have the quote here because I think it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
She's basically telling him about Maisie's like problems and personality and not taking her career seriously. And he says, I don't think I want to know a 6-year-old who isn't a dreamer or a silly heart. And I sure don't want to know one who takes their student career seriously. I don't have a college degree. I don't even have a job, but I know a good kid when I see one because they're all good kids until dried out, brain dead skags like you drag them down and convince them they're no good. You so much as scowl at my niece or any other kid in the school and I hear about it and I'm coming looking for you. This last part is mean. It is mean.
No, it's not.
But I laugh.
She put down his niece.
It's justified.
Go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face. Good day to you, madam.
No, she tried to take down his niece.
A 6-year-old.
Yes, exactly. Then all holds bar. Then
it's
she
justified.
deserves it. Yeah, absolutely
justified response.
Yeah,
if he did anything physical or anything like that, he said one bad thing and just like she made him kind of feel self-conscious about his niece. It's like here you go. He's threw a fucking quarter at her.
Before he goes into the conversation, though, when he keeps saying like different things about the mole, I'm
Uncle Wart. I mean, shit.
I'm Buck Melanoma. Sorry, that's just what they call me, Melanoma head.
This lady was so like you could just tell she's mean. You know what I mean? Like it's not funny to make fun of someone for like something they can't help, but she just she's like
brought it upon herself.
Like in Matilda, like Principal Trunchbull. She's like you can tell she's mean. You know?
Yeah.
To 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds.
Yeah, she reminded me of the librarian from Monsters Inc.
Oh. I'm watching you, Wazowski. That one?
She reminded me of that. If anything, Buck's nice to her.
She had a mean spirit.
Roz.
Imagine if this was a rated R movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was PG, by the way.
Is it actually?
PG in the 80s was very different than PG in 2024.
Oh, you should watch 16 Candles again.
16 Candles also PG, Byron.
I was born in the wrong decade.
There is nudity, and it is PG. Just saying.
There's a lot worse than nudity in that movie. There's a lot
worse.
I'm not watching it, so like...
Yeah, don't. We're going to just... We're not going to talk anymore about 16 Candles. That's the last time.
Yeah. Fuck 16 Candles. 17 was better.
Fair enough. Okay, anyways, I just really love that whole exchange and that whole scene with the school. Okay, then we have Tia lying to Shanice on the phone, convincing her that Buck has another woman over and insinuating that they're sleeping together and obviously that he's cheating on her because she's making it her mission to be against him in every way possible.
I felt this completely stepped over the line.
I think so. And my take,
I've fucked up
so many times. And I think that Buck is just like the person who happens to be there that she can take all her anger out on. She's mad at her mom. That's very clear. And at her parents in general, but specifically her mom. And I think that because he's challenging her, she's kind of like, this is the first time I think someone who's even taken an interest in her life, even though it's not necessarily making her happy. I think she's just like, oh, well, if he's going to come at me, I'm going to go at him. She doesn't know what the consequences are. She's a teenager. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up. I forget how mean she is. Well, let's keep going and we'll see how mean she is. Then we have Buck dancing with Marcy, the neighbor from earlier. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just dancing around the living room. She's trying to kind of come on to him, but he's not like doing anything bad.
Yeah, he very much like now, like we see the full context. He's fine.
Yeah, 100%. And then Shanice comes by after getting that information, upset, sees him with her and thinks that he's cheating on her. He tries to explain it to her, but she doesn't listen. And then Tia makes it clear to him that this was her doing and says, it hurts when someone screws with your life, doesn't it? Like
there's a difference.
Screwing with your life because this guy you like it's just when you're a teenager, the problems that you think exist are just
mountains.
Yeah. So I'll stop here briefly, but I was going to ask you guys what your thoughts are on Tia, but we've already kind of been talking about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
hate her. Still hate her at this point. Still hate her.
I have empathy because I've been a teenage girl and I have 2 teenage nieces. I have 5 nieces in general, but 2 of them are teenagers. And I feel like they're so mad at the world for so many different reasons. So like this makes sense to me. Her behavior makes sense to me, and it feels very realistic to that age range. But I don't think it's correct. I don't think that she should be treating him that way. He didn't do anything to deserve it. She's mad at her mom, and she's taking it out on him for no reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're kind of supposed to see her as like a not a villain, but like the antagonist sort of thing of this film for sure. But you could also see that Buck doesn't see her as a villain. He's always standing up for her, but she just doesn't understand that he's standing up for her, which is exactly what teenagers go through. They just don't get it.
100%.
Which I get it. Like I think Tia's pivotal for this character, for this role,
100%.
this movie though. I think Tia teaches Buck so much, then Buck teaches her so much, sort of thing. They're kind of perfect for each other.
I agree. Yeah, I think he needs it because he needs that like someone to kind of make him care about something, like something seriously. But she also needs someone who's not afraid to. I feel like her parents, the impression I get from the conversations is that they don't even like, because he says something at one point like, "Do your parents know about this or that?" And
drink
like
coffee. Yeah,
like they don't know about anything in her life, which that speaks volumes. If your parents don't even know about anything going on, they don't really care. And it's like, even if your parents are like grounding you or doing something, at least that means they care and that they're involved. So I think she's kind of experiencing the opposite of that. And also this actress does a great job, like you said, Byron, but I think this might be like the best angsty female character in a John Hughes movie. Like I love Molly Ringwald, but I don't think she does it nearly as well as this actress does.
I keep every time I see this movie, I was like, "Oh, it's Jennifer Grey," but it's not. It looks very similar. Yeah.
Jean Louise Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also in Top Gun Maverick, apparently.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently.
So that was random as shit.
I'll have to look that up later.
Right.
All right. Well, jumping back in, Tia takes off with Bug and tells the younger siblings she'll be back in 2 days. Like, okay.
Imagine doing that when you're 15.
Oh, my parents would have killed me. And so she's not there when Bug comes to pick her up. I just said Bug. Too many bean. Bug and Buck. When Buck comes to pick her up from school, she's not there. And this is where he was planning on going to the racetrack from that earlier conversation at the bowling alley when he's had his buddy tell him about the betting that was taking place. So she was supposed to be home to watch the kids so that he can go do this. So he gets the bright idea to take Maisie and Miles with him, gets them in the car, gets them all loaded up. And I love this moment because you kind of see him looking like in the rearview mirror, like looking at their little faces in the back seat. And he starts to like kind of get like teary eyed and he's like worried. It was like the first time we feel like we see him really show like kind of, I guess, more of that emotion. And you can tell he's worried about where Tia is because he's starting to, he cares about these kids. So he goes back inside. He gets Shanice on the phone to agree, even though she's mad at him, to come watch the younger kids while he goes and looks for her. And he does apologize to her, but she basically says that their relationship is over, but that she'll do this for him. So he shows up at the party where Tia is supposed to be. I love when he's wandering around. Like he's huge compared to all these teenagers. He's like got the cigar going, got the hat, got the jacket.
Hey, is this polka? He starts dancing.
Trying to blend in,
steals the hat off that other guy because his hat got stolen.
Hey, give me that.
He finds the locked door room. He believes it to be Bug and Tia in there. I'm not sure how he thinks that, but anyways, Bug yells.
He just magically knew, but didn't.
Yeah. I don't know if he just assumed, but he yells something about like, get out of here. And then you just hear a drill.
Yeah, he brings a drill with him.
It's so like, good. If any of you seen a Slumber Party Massacre?
No, not yet.
That is the killing, like that's the signature weapon of the killer
in
that movie. So that's all I was thinking. I was just like, this
might be a reference.
It could be, yeah, because I was going to say when he goes to the doorknob,
did come out early, I think.
It's a pretty like, I mean, it's a very like horror film-esque moment. He like, a door opens, you see a big old body, and he's got the cigar and he's got the drill in his hand.
I think them overdoing it slightly makes it like still somewhat fitting for the movie because it's not like in any way a thriller or a horror, but like so them overdoing it with like the lighting and shit is just like chill out. It's not like that kind of scene, but like
it'd probably be a little too dark. Was just some like guy barging into a high school party with a drill. Like that would be pretty dark. So I think they have to kind of add like a comedic element to it, which is I think the way they shoot the scene is it makes it very comedic. But this confirms that Bug is not hooking up with Tia. It's a different girl. So after that, he goes driving around looking for her. She's walking alone down an empty street. There's like not a soul to be seen in that entire street.
Yeah, looks like my town.
Yeah, it looked like a very small town from the way they showed that like downtown area. So she eventually agrees to get in the car. She tells him that he was right and that everything he said would happen happened. And I love that he's not like happy to be right or anything. He's just like wants her to be okay. You know, he's not like looking to be right in this situation. On the way home, they talk, about what's gone on. And he says that he won't tell her parents about what's been going on, while they've been away. I like this moment where he says, that there's one family charity case who loves you very much. And then she begins to cry and actually says, I'm sorry. And he says, hey, come on, nothing to be sorry about. I'm just glad I got a chance to know you again, which I think is a very sweet thing to say. Because he genuinely did seem like he just wanted to get to know his nieces and nephews and just kind of spend time with them. So after their sentimental moments, we have Buck revealing that Bug is in the trunk and has been taped.
Which is wild.
I didn't expect that.
Don't know how long they've been driving, but he's been in there the whole time.
It's 15 minutes. Probably.
Yeah, they decide to let him go. And of course, he has to have like a smart mouth and start talking about how, his dad or somebody he knows is a lawyer. So he ends up grabbing his golf club and balls after he lets him kind of run away, and he hits him with like, I don't know, 2 or 3 golf balls. It's pretty funny.
Bro, that fucking hurt.
Yeah,
like he got it at like the back of the. Was it the back of the neck, or was he already turned around at that point?
Like
him in the forehead.
Like his back a little bit.
No matter the what, that is fucking you up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the part where I'm like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't do this to a high school kid. I get that, but also like he's a cheater piece of shit, so I don't care.
He's also a fucking pussy.
Guy's a loser.
Yeah.
So yeah, that they have some good fun, some good laughs about what happens to Bug on the way home. And then Tia tells Shanice the truth. I love this whole like scene when they're sitting at the table. She just goes on forever. He'd make a great father and husband. He's responsible and caring and loving and enthusiastic, blah, blah, blah. And then Shanice kind of gathers that, obviously.
She overdid it.
Say that.
They overdid it with that. Like maybe it would have been believable if she stopped after like maybe 5 compliments, but then when she reached like 10, I was just like, come on. This is staged as crazy. Like this is crazy.
But it gave us that amazing moment where she opens the door and he, completely falls back.
I do also think while Tia was listing off the compliments, I think she was starting to believe like literally every word that came out of her mouth. She's like, fuck, damn it.
She was actually ever invested in her life and gave a shit. So I think she kind of realized the benefit to having someone in your life like that. The parents finally come home from being away. Buck tells the younger kids to give Tia and their mom a moment. As someone who is the only girl in my family, and my mom and I definitely fought a lot in high school, this scene always gets me a little bit when she walks in and Tia's just standing there and the music is like perfectly timed. And she begins to cry, and then her mom embraces her with this long hug and tells her that everything's going to be different now. And I love that moment. I don't care how cheesy it is. I think it's fantastic. And then proper Buck fashion, I love that he manages to make one more gigantic mess in the kitchen before saying goodbye to everybody.
Good, eh? Yeah.
He knocks over all the pots and pans. While leaving outside, Buck looks up and smiles at Tia. She smiles back and waves. The end. All right. So give me your final thoughts. Any final, I guess, favorite characters, favorite moments, favorite quotes, and your overall rating.
One thing.
Byron.
Hold on. Just one thing. Harry, you can review it first, but I just want to say one thing I think this was missing. I really wanted just one moment between the mother and Buck. I just want like maybe one apology or something. I think that's the only thing missing from this movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Like, because she cuts him out of like, she folds like his picture over their wedding picture. I was just like, that's fucked up, by the way. That's really fucked up. And she like never like acknowledges, she never thanks him.
Yeah,
never
you're right.
Apologizes. The movie just ends. I was just like, okay.
I think it's because the focus was more on the uncle relationship with the kids, but I think you're right. If it could have been a little longer, I think there could have been a conversation between the mom and him, and also like the dad and it. Like, yeah, you fold over this picture and like don't acknowledge your husband's brother. That's pretty bad. Like, did you have that bad of a
It's
falling
pretty
out? Yeah.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on here.
I love this movie. Yeah, no, that's a great point, Byron. I didn't even think about that. I love this movie. I'm giving it 4.5. I think it's like it's a staple for my childhood. Everything about this, like you continually watch it, and it's still just so funny. It's like a Seinfeld of movies, where it doesn't matter what year it is, it's so timeless. Or it is just so goddamn good, and I really do think that if it wasn't for John Candy, this movie doesn't work. But because John Candy's in it, it not only works, it works brilliantly, which is just such a good little combination. Favorite scene, like I do love the interaction between him and the clown. He's like smiling, close the door, goes, "You had a couple drinks, buddy." Like get in your mouse and get out of here. Yeah, I like literally any interaction that Buck has with the kids is not only funny, but it means something as well, which is really awesome. But I love how just like he hasn't been in their lives for like, let's say, like 6 years, I'd say 6 years to a decade. Immediately just goes to war for them at any time, which I really like. Yeah, I love this movie. 4.5.
Nice.
Yeah. As I was searching this movie, man, I really didn't think that I would like this movie. I give it a 4 stars.
That's big.
It's more. I think so. That means it was. Oh god, what other movies did we do this month? This is like up there with like my highest rated of this month.
Nice.
It's like up there with. Cause I don't know if I mentioned. I gave The Mighty Ducks a 4 as well. Uptown Girls was a 3.5.
Then
Doubtfire was a 3.5.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. So this is what for the movie I assumed would be the weakest out of the lot. This is actually one of the better ones, best ones. I think John Hughes did a really good job with this. I think pretty much every single thing worked. There were maybe points where the entertainment wasn't quite up to speed with previous and future scenes in the movie, but I think the humor was really solid throughout. I think the characters are really good. The relationships are built on really well. I think the ending, minus that one slight missed opportunity with the mother and Buck, but I think outside of that, it was all really good, and I think it was a really, really wholesome and sweet movie. Good on John Candy, because fuck yeah.
You hear that, Roger Ebert? We disagree with you. That it is
fuck you, Robert. What was his name?
Ebert.
Yeah, be rolling in his grave.
My father's name is Robert. Fuck you, Ebert.
Pretty sure he gave the thing to Roger. But yeah.
Roger. Fuck you, Roger.
But he pretty sure he gave the thing 2.5.
He gave it 1.5.
Well, that's wild.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Well,
anyways, I agree with everything you guys have said. I'm with you, Harry. 4.5 for me. I actually originally had it at a 4 and I bumped it up because I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I love this movie. It's definitely. I was trying to like think about it in comparison to other John Hughes movies, and I was like, yeah, I like it better than Ferris Bueller, and that's a 4 for me. So yeah, it's 4.5. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I really love the ending. I do agree, Byron. I've never really thought about it, but now that you say it out loud, I do think that could have added a little something. But I love the moment with the mom and Tia so much that I do wonder if there was like another scene in between that and the ending, it might have not hit.
I think it would, if it were to take place, it would be as Buck and Shanice are leaving the home, maybe just one look back, and instead of Tia being there, because they've already had that like little moment, like 30 seconds prior, I think that instead could have just been the mother, and she just says thank you. Yeah, just a simple thank you.
Yeah,
and that would.
I do like them waving to each other as they leave, though.
Yeah, it was still a good moment. It was a good replacement, but yeah.
Nice.
Missed opportunity slightly.
All right. Well, that's what we think of Uncle Buck. If you've not yet seen this movie for some reason, please do yourself a favor, watch it this holiday season, because even though, again, it's not a holiday movie, there's just something about it that makes you feel like the holiday spirit. If you have an uncle or aunt, give them a hug, appreciate them.
I'm an uncle.
That's all I got to say. Well, that ends off our Nostalgia November, and we're just going to finish off with a little Guess the Movie game. I have 2 movies, so we'll have you guys, I guess, do it together. And
is using Letterboxd cheating.
I don't think we can search like Ash's films, but I think like in terms of
you guys have both seen these movies.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I was gonna use that as a free question because you ain't counting that as a question.
No trick. or anything
Yeah,
like that. You've seen
fucking
him.
Harry. Yeah, not gonna do what Harry didn't give me fucking snakes on a plane.
You've
Even though I
seen
got it.
snakes on a plane.
Yeah, but even though I got it, it was such a bullshit.
What are you talking about then?
It
Back in
was
your
like every
cage,
genre
Byron.
under the
Back in your
book,
cage.
bro. Fuck you.
Okay, you guys figure out who if you want to go back and forth or whatever you want to do.
You
But
kick it off, Harry. You kick it off.
Is it released after the year 2010?
let me just double check. Sorry, I should have had.
Well, that's a good sign.
Do you want me to keep track of questions?
Yeah, you're good at doing that, Harry.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It worked really well.
What year did you say?
2010. So is it released in the year 2010 or sooner?
Or yeah,
So
yes.
between the year
Yes,
2010 and
answer.
2024. Cool.
Yes, is the answer.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, Byron.
Is said movie directed by a big name director?
I don't think so, but let me double check. Don't believe so.
That's good.
No.
It gets
Okay.
rid of a lot of names who would have thrived around that 2010s era.
It
That's
does.
why I asked it.
With her saying no straight away, I'm going to think... I was originally going to be like, is it a directorial debut? So that's going to be a no for me because that would have instantly... She would have said no to that. That's my psychological thinking right there.
So this is a known director. It's just not a big name.
Or like not even a known director. It could just be like...
Yeah. Could be a fucking absolute no. No.
Is it a horror?
No.
Okay.
Not a horror film.
Is the main character in the main actor or actress, if it's a single, is in the MCU?
No.
That's big.
Shit. Oh god. Actually, wait. Okay. I need to get this movie early, this guess out there like early. Not guess, but like question. Have we reviewed this movie on the Love Death and Movies channel?
No.
Fuck.
I like that. That's a good question. Comedy? Has comedy elements, but not a main genre?
Comedy's not the genre, no.
Okay.
Okay, so it could be drama.
Oh, God.
Would you cry when you watch it, Ash?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I cry a lot.
I was about to say, Ash knows she cries over heaps of movies. That doesn't...
Is it a 2010s film?
Yes.
Alright, so 2010 to 2019.
Yeah.
Fuck, there was so many stacked years.
Okay.
It's my most watched decade. It's
it-
over 500.
Is it part of a franchise?
Good one.
What's the franchise again? Is it four or more?
It's
Is it all
four. It's 4 or more movies as a franchise.
Then no.
Okay, so
So
it's part
it's
of a trilogy.
trilogy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Yeah, all right. All right. So, but comedy isn't the primary.
Alright, where's Ash's Letterboxd? I'm assuming you've reviewed.
It's not the Hangover
You
trilogy.
have logged this movie, right?
I don't know that I've logged it like recently or anything. Seen it.
So we
You
haven't
can't look at
reviewed
like
it.
my score or anything.
No.
No.
Yeah, I've logged it.
Have me and Byron, or at least one of us, given it a score of 4.5 and higher?
I'm looking right now.
Please don't say it was me.
Harry, yes, and yes, you both have given it 4 or more.
4. Alright, so this is a loved movie. This is a.
I loved.
We like this movie, Harry. We really like the
It's
movie.
good, but we like a lot of movies.
I know.
That's the issue.
I need to be more
You're being
negative.
on this side of the guest.
I'm changing my rating. I need to be more negative. I'm giving Uncle Buck a 2.5.
2.5.
Despicable.
Um,
I don't know how many questions that is.
Yeah, I'm keeping track. So that question 10 was the do we have it highly rated on Letterboxd? So part of either a duo or trilogy. It's not comedy related. I wouldn't say it's any type or she said she'd cry in it, so I'm gonna guess it's probably not part of a superhero, because if it was like, my first thought was like Logan, right? And if it's Logan, then it's like that's part of the X-Men, which has like 9 movies, so that is a franchise.
It's not Logan.
No, that wasn't a question.
I know. I'm just helping you out.
I'm not burning no questions over here. Okay, so part of them, not horror at all. Oh, Ash.
I think this
If you can,
grumpy,
I think if we can narrow the genre down, it'll really help.
But I think is it animated?
yes.
Fuck.
Okay.
So it's a 2010s animated movie.
Is it?
Would seem so. Yes.
Can I have a guess, Byron?
Yeah, go for it.
Wait. By animated, we're saying like the whole film's animated, right?
Yes.
Like we're not talking about Paddington. That's an animated.
No.
Okay. Is it Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
No.
She seems like she's gonna break. It better not be the fucking sequel.
No, because that
Oh,
would
no,
be
I know
not
that came out in
2010s.
20.
That would be
Yeah.
2010. Don't worry.
I can give you guys a hint if you want. Not a hint, but like to keep you on the right track. It is not superhero like related
Okay.
at all.
It's not that many.
Is it Pixar?
No.
Okay, that actually eliminates a lot.
So it's not Pixar, but it is animated. Non-Pixar animated.
Does it
movie
have a
that will
live
be-
action version coming out very soon?
Maybe.
Is it How to Train Your Dragon?
Yes.
Nice.
God, that's a 5. That's a 5. That's
all
a
the
5-star movie. for
Nice.
me.
In my head, I was just like, what's really highly rated?
By the way, actually, first of all, that trailer
I haven't watched it. Is it good?
pretty
I actually
good.
haven't watched it either.
Pretty good. I mean, Harry,
I don't
you
really
don't
watch
like
trailers
watching that
anymore.
trailer, right?
No, I'll never watch it.
You wouldn't. You're not going to watch the trailer, even though it's a movie that's already been out for 15 years, coming up on 15 years.
Yeah, I like took care of my nephew for a whole day, and I like it was really hot in Sydney, and his parents like, oh, you just make sure he has lunch, and that was it. I was just like, his name's Cal, and I was like, Cal, you know what we're doing today? I'm gonna show you the entire How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and we're gonna order pizza. It was the best day of his
Amazing.
life. He loved it.
Amazing.
Nice,
That's
love
so
that. Do we have
Okay.
another one?
That was a good one. Yep. One more.
So good.
All right, fuck yeah, we nailed that one, Byron. Well done.
Hell yeah, brother.
I feel like Ash wants to go horror now. Ash, is it a horror?
No.
I feel like Ash would have. I agree with you here. I think Ash would have like completely switched it up. It's just How to Train Your Dragon 2. Fuck,
Can
that
you
pissed me
imagine?
off.
Yeah,
That would piss me off because I would never guess it.
Ash, is it a movie that you hold dear to your heart?
Yes.
What?
Yes, there we go. See?
come on. I'm limited. I have a bad memory.
No. Is it a comedy?
Yeah. It's one of the genres.
One of the genres is so it's probably either comedy drama, comedy romance.
Yeah.
Probably. If Ash holds it close.
Is it a
Comedy's
Is it a rom com romance?
No.
Okay.
Is the other genre drama?
No.
No, what the fuck?
And then it's not horror.
Hey,
So one of the things is drama.
I might have confused you guys. I would move on to the genre. I would maybe
No,
elsewhere.
no.
Ash, do you give it a 5?
Not a 5, no. But I rate it very highly.
It's definitely a 4.5.
I know Ash.
Does this count? Do we have we both seen it?
Yes.
I assume that we should only pick movies that we've both seen. Have you reviewed it on the pod?
Technically, yes.
Technically, what does that mean?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Well, it's not a fucking. What the
My
fuck?
poker face is so bad.
That means like we've dedicated an episode to it.
We've discussed it on the
You
podcast.
said kind of. That
Last
threw me
year.
off majorly.
Ash, I'm circling like a shark.
No, I've made all of our thumbnails.
Technically.
Oh wait. Well, actually, Harry might maybe think about movies that we did before we started doing. Each week was a movie entirely dedicated to it.
Well, it's not a comedy. I was gonna Scooter knows. This is
We did like 20 episodes where we weren't doing strictly one.
That's
movie.
what I said. It's a movie
So-
that it's an episode that we dedicated. And she said, "Yeah."
I
Okay.
Yeah, I can't quite remember how we structured everything, but It's been discussed on this podcast.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
Ash.
I
Did
believe
it,
it was a whole episode.
did it release after the 2000s?
No.
So it's
It's
okay.
an 80s film?
No.
90s.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Part of a series?
Yes.
Okay. And it has comedy in it. It's
no,
not
it can't be
romance.
Matrix ain't no fucking comedy.
No, definitely has no comedy. Has comedy
It
in
can't.
it.
It can't be Green Mile because that's a drama. She said no to drama.
I reckon it's action comedy.
Action.
Does it have... Is... Ash.
Did you snipe it?
Ash. Is it The Mummy?
No.
Fuck, I thought I
That's
had
Mummy
it.
before on.
That's what I thought you were doing when you're like, oh, we've discussed it.
No.
Trying to think of
You
90s
was going
movies.
to.
we've done.
You guys are gonna lose your mind when you actually get it or figure out what it is.
It can't be Heat. Heat's not a fucking.
Have you given it 4.5?
I believe so. Yes. Let me just
Yeah,
fact check
Heat.
myself.
It definitely
I'm
can't.
almost positive.
It can't be Heat because Heat's not a fucking comedy.
And we've technically reviewed it, right? Have we reviewed it this
Four
month?
and a half. Yes.
Have we reviewed it this month?
90s. Oh, could be fucking Home Alone.
Is it a directorial debut, Ash?
I don't believe so. Let me double check. No, I don't. I can't imagine it is.
Home Alone's on the table.
Let me double check. 1 second.
But we didn't talk about that directly, did we?
Yeah, we did.
No, it's not. It's not a directorial debut.
Has John Hughes have anything to do with this film, Ash?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is that Home Alone?
Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
My thought process was John Candy has that small cameo in it.
What's the other genre of Home Alone?
It's family comedy. That's what it says.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Adventure, probably. Yeah.
Nice job, you guys.
Yeah,
Nice
it threw
work.
me for a loop when it was narrowed down to 90s. I was like, dude, Green Mile. It can't be like Green Mile, Matrix, Heat.
Oh.
I was like, can't be any of
We
those.
technically did a whole episode to Home Alone so that Byron could watch it, but that was before we did like the structured, every episode was a different movie,
That's
but we
true.
did like a Christmas month. So
Oh, I see.
That's true.
That's it. Yeah, that
All right,
threw me
nice
for a
job.
loop.
you guys got them both. So
Oh,
you did it. Great teamwork. That wraps up our episode on Uncle Buck and Nostalgia November. I'm going to miss it. But we're moving into something very fun for December. And instead of reviewing Christmas movies like you might think we would do, boring, we're going to do something different. And we're going to do Destination December. And not the kind of destination you might think. Final Destination. So
I
we're
thought
going to
this
do
was a
all
joke.
5. Huh?
I thought this was a joke when I saw the sheet.
It's no joke. There's no jokes here. Only seriousness. We are doing all 5 Final Destination movies throughout the month of December. So look out for that. Next week, we'll be doing the first movie and working our way through all of them. So definitely comment. Let us know which one's your favorite and follow along for that. But until then, I'm Ash. That's Harry. That's Byron. And we will see you at the movies.